After a whole 4 months of waiting, we finally get our first ever leaked illustration from Volume 4 of the third year arc. If we look back at Kinugasa's words from the previous volume, he said that maybe we will get the girl's illustration in a swimsuit for next time, and he really fulfilled his promise with this new illustration. As you can see, the first illustration from the newest volume presents us with both Ichika and Tsubasa wearing their swimsuits. Not the regular school swimsuit, but that kind of swimsuit you usually see on the beach, which is perfect for the uninhabited island exam. It's been 6 years since Volume 3's second year arc was released, but we can finally see Tsubasa wearing a swimsuit once again. Although her new swimsuit seems like a downgrade from the previous year, at least the other aspect of her gets an upgrade. However, there are a few things that invite a few questions. For example, why did this illustration show us both Tsubasa and Ichika, even though they are from different classes and don't seem to be on good terms with each other? It's also confusing to see why both of them seem to live a luxurious life on the island, while the third-year students need to go hunt for a bowl of rice in the previous volume. Without further ado, let's first start analyzing the picture starting from Ichika. After you are satisfied looking at her thighs and breast, you will notice that she holds her drink with her left hand, which once again confirms my suspicion that Ichika is really ambidextrous. As for why she could drink something like that, it's most likely because they were still enjoying their vacation on the ship, while the third year bathed in blood. If you look closely at the background, you will notice something like a fence drawn in there. That fence could be the second floor of the ship, but could also be the outer fence of the ship. If that's really the case, that means both Ichika and Tsubasa have already set foot on the island, but it will make their fancy life harder to explain. If they are still on the ship, it will be as simple as two young girls enjoying their youth, laughing at the suffering of their senior. However, if they are already on the island, this scene might be related to a special exam, or maybe some kind of point system just like the previous two island exams. It's hard to see if either of them already wearing a wristwatch, but I actually prefer the possibility of them still being on the ship, because there is no way the ship's hull has a window on it. The fact that Tsubasa was shown in the same scene as Ichika might be related to Tsubasa's investigation, or maybe she just keeps an eye on Ichika just like what Ayanokoji asked her to do. As for why they have such a fancy life on the ship, it's just something usual the ship offers their students, and we have seen it multiple times, such as the scene with Kiryuin. The bigger question is, when exactly did this illustration take place? It makes sense if this scene happened when the third year was still on their exam, but if this scene happened after the ending of the previous volume, we could probably guess what kind of exam they need to face in this new volume. For example, it's not impossible for the ship to become part of the exam, and the students could enter and go depending on the exam rules. The fact that Tsubasa and Ichika are shown together could also mean that they are on the same team just like in the previous island exam, and the luxurious items they got are bought by special points, but I doubt that is really the case. Tsubasa is not the type to waste points for luxurious things, so I strongly believe that the drink or the volleyball is a freebie item provided by the school. Since the third-year students are currently on the island, I prefer the possibility that Ayanokoji somehow got on the ship, and coincidentally found the two of them at the pool. As for why Ayanokoji returned to the ship, it wouldn't be weird if he tried to scout them to cooperate in the next exam, or maybe this scene is just a fan service without any deeper meaning. Without any more clues, this illustration opens to many possibilities to think about. However, since the next volume is supposed to be the climax of the island exam, I doubt they will have enough room for extra fan service, so I guess we could say that this illustration actually means something. If we try to use the illustration where Tsubasa is wearing a swimsuit as a clue, this scene could be some kind of special event, and the volleyball is the game they are playing. Since the first and second year students spent 4 days waiting for the third year students to finish their exam, it's not impossible that this illustration is part of their activity during those 4 days of waiting, so it could mean they have their own special exam while the third-year students busy playing paintball. It's still unclear why and for what they use those 4 days in the previous volume, but their combination together strongly suggests that the next exam will require them to make a team. If we remember Kinugasa's word from the previous volumes afterward, he said that the next exam will focus on a smaller cast compared to Volume 3. So it just makes sense to put as many important characters in one group to avoid unnecessary wasted pages. If Ayanokoji manages to get both of them in his group, That means the plot will be heavily revolved around the White Room, so I suspect Horikita will get Ishigami with her. If it's really ended up as a team battle with a smaller cast, maybe the next exam will revolve around 2 or 3 bigger teams. And it somehow makes more sense when Ayanokoji and Ichinose's cooperation has already become public, so Ryuen and Horikita will need their own team unless they want to get obliterated. Needless to say, it is still unknown how they will form a team. It's possible that they need to form a team on their own, but it's more plausible that there will be special rules for them to form a team. The special exam that the first and second year students play during the 4 days of paintball games might be the key to determining the team, but even if they could choose their own team, that would still open a lot of interesting conflict. We have several minor antagonists who will never join Ayanokoji's group, and if they were forced to join hands, there would be a lot of unnecessary conflict that contradicts Kinugasa's promise of focusing on a smaller cast, so I think the team will be decided by the students themselves to avoid that conflict. There were several exams where they need to choose their own team or partner, and the simplest one was during the mixed training camp, where the juniors needed to pick senior teams to form a big group, but I doubt the next volume will be that easy. The fact that the third year needs to do their own exam first before the first and second years join the battle must mean something more than just a warm-up. Perhaps their rank in the paintball game will be seen by their junior, and used to judge whether they want to join or not. Or maybe their performance as individuals will be reviewed to form a small group consisting of just a small amount of people. Whichever it is, it's hardly possible to put everything in just a single volume, starting from group recruitment and finally moving to the special exam itself. That's why it wouldn't be strange if Volume 4 of the third year arc didn't become the end of the uninhabited island exam, but just a prologue to an even bigger stage in the next volume. That is simply a possibility, but we shouldn't let ourselves think that we will get another volume for Point 5 just because it already happened twice. It is also worth noted that there will never be an exam with the scale of the island exam anymore, so if they wanted to, they needed to squeeze everything they could to not leave a regret. Back to the illustration, although there is hardly anything to discuss, at least I'm glad Tomose's Shunsaku art is finally back to its prime. Classroom elite illustrations lately are filled with strange legs proportions, or unexplained shrinking in size, so looking at both Tsubasa and Ichiko with their proportional bodies really brings a smile to the world. It might have something to do with their 2-month rest, so at least they use their break for good. I actually have a suspicion that both Tsubasa and Ichika got this illustration have something to do with anime season 4, but they really put a good use of the newest volume as promotion material. That's why even if the next volume turns out to be a disappointment, at least this illustration is already enough to make it a memorable volume. So, let's hope the actual volume will give us more swimsuit than we ever need.